Hey, what's up? It's Caroline. I hope everyone is having a beautiful day. A while ago, I got a wonderful, amazing question from someone on YouTube, and it's taken me a while to respond to this video, or to respond to this question because I really wanted to ponder it. It's a major question, and I wanted to make sure I was in a good headspace to authentically and honestly answer it, and also reflect on it and think about it in my daily life. So that said, if you ever ask me a question or ask for me to post a video and it takes a while, yes, sometimes it's that I'm busy, but also a lot of the times it's that I'm letting the thought marinate both in my heart and in my head so that I can give the best answer possible. So the question, what is recovery? What is its definition? When is one in recovery or in the process of recovery? I'm pretty sure I have an idea of what being recovered means, and I'm pretty sure I'm not. But I am in recovery. But am I in recovery if I'm aware of my issues, even if the thoughts and behaviors are still present? Whew! This could take years of videos. Let's start with the beginning. What is recovery? Again, this is all my opinion. I feel that recovery is awareness, is honesty, truth, patience, perseverance, and perspective. It is being aware that you have an addiction or had an addiction. It is the choice to live without that addiction and to live as your purest self. It is patience that it does not happen overnight. It is perseverance to work through the hard times. It just is. Recovery is. It is that space that you avoided going to, and thus an addiction or an eating disorder spawned in its place. I feel one is in the process of recovery when they have made a choice to disassociate from an eating disorder, and that one is in recovery when they are aware that they have something that they want to let go of, which is the eating disorder, and that someone is in recovery when they're making choices to honor themselves as an amazing person rather than to disempower themselves. So to me, being in recovery is when you are making choices, and hopefully they get more and more consistent to the fact that you are continually making the choice to honor yourself and love yourself. That to me is what being in recovery is. You begin recovery, I feel, when you make the choice to love yourself. That's step one. And then it's just a continual process, and the time between the moments that you love yourself gets smaller and smaller and smaller until you're consistently loving yourself, and that to me is full recovery. And loving yourself also means loving yourself enough to not beat yourself up when you have a bad day. And I don't mean bad day like relapsing, binging, and purging, and whatever. I mean like I feel I'm in recovery because when I look in the mirror and judge my stomach, I can still 5 seconds later be like, Caroline, let it go. That's recovery. And then I love myself enough to not be like, oh, I just had a bad body image moment. Instead, it's like, who cares? I had a bad body image moment, and I love myself enough to allow myself to have those moments. That to me is recovery. So another question was, am I in recovery if I'm aware of my issue, even if the thoughts and behaviors are still present? Yes, you are in recovery, I feel, if you are aware of the issue, even if the thoughts and behaviors are present, because you have to know that you are in something in order to fully let it come to fruition. Like, you have to know that you're do you know what I'm like saying, do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, maybe you can respond back to me, but like, I went with my family to India when I was in college 2 years in a row. I believe it was the first year we were there. I happened to be on Zoloft at the time. antidepressants, and it was the second time in my life I'd been on antidepressants. I was on Zoloft for like a year and a half in high school during my bulimia, and I was on Zoloft for like 6 months or so in college after my brother died, as I was recovering from my eating, like all these things. And the doctor, we went to the Hyatt in Goa, India, and there is an Ayurvedic spa there, and I won't waste the time to explain it, but check out what Ayurveda is in terms of Indian medicine and healthcare. And the doctor at the spa, and I were meeting, and he was saying, like, you should get off the antidepressant. I was like, I agree. I was like, so I'm going to be off the antidepressant. He was like, no. And I was like, what? He was like, you didn't say it right. And I was like, I want to get off Zoloft. He was like, no. And I was like, I don't get it. He was like, you already are off Zoloft. I was like, but I'm not already. He's like, you are off Zoloft. You have to know that you are already in the space in which you want to live. Therefore, to me, you say, I am in recovery. Because if you want to live in recovery, that's where you live. And eventually you can say I'm recovered because you live there. Like, so I do feel that words are very strong and powerful. So to say, so yes, if you are aware of your issue, I feel like you're in recovery. On the other hand, I know a lot of people that say they're in recovery and they clearly aren't. So that goes back to the first things I said. What is recovery? Honesty. If you're not in recovery, then don't say you are. Like, be honest with yourself. Which means if you say you're in recovery, own it. Be there. Like, be present with the recovery. And for years of my life, I said I was in recovery, and I really wasn't. But I don't know what that space is. It's somewhere between eating disorder and recovery. I don't know what to call it. I don't know that it needs a name. But I do know that whatever I've been in for the 5 years, like, that's been recovery. And that means I stopped throwing up. Then I stopped binging. Then I stopped eating emotionally. Then I stopped eating, then I stopped overeating when I was already full. Like, it's been stages, right? But I would, when I was, like, in late high school, I'd tell you I was in recovery. But I know that I haven't actually been in recovery until I actually chose to love myself. That, to me, is when you're in recovery. And you have to be honest with yourself when you're making that choice. I'm just going to check on time real quick. So, like, I hope that helps. But, like, one sec. What am I doing? When is in... Recovery is loving yourself, like self-love, like honoring who you are and being, it's honesty. It's honesty, perspective, perseverance, and patience. It's those things. And, like, I still have moments and issues with, like, certain body image things. Like, I still have some issues with how I feel about my stomach, but I'm working on that. But I'd say I'm in recovery, whatever. I don't know that because I know I am, because I don't remember the last time I made myself throw up or wanted to, and when I have a bad day, I don't turn to food. That's how I know I'm in recovery. That's how I know I'm recovered, because I don't use food as an outlet, as a catalyst to cope with things anymore. I sit with my emotions. To me, that's what recovery is like being honest with the fact that, like, when I have a bad moment, body image related or not, like, I don't use food anymore. I use myself. You know what I mean? Like, if I am having an emotion, like, if I have an emotion that I experience that emotion. I honor that reality. I sit with that. I am patient with that, and I remind myself that it's all temporary. And that is, to me, what being in recovery is sitting with those emotions and not being afraid, letting go of the fear. That is recovery, the absence of fear. Recovery is the absence of fear, and unconditional love is the absence of fear. And you can let go of fear by, ironically enough, unconditionally loving fear itself. That's when I began to recover. When I let go of the guilt and just started loving myself all the time, and suddenly there was no more room for guilt or fear or self-sabotage. And when you are living in a space of pure unconditional love, there is no room in your home of yourself and your body for an eating disorder. It has to go away. I hope that helps.